Hey, what's up, everybody? Jeremy here, and guys, I'm very excited for the conversation we have today, as we have Bela Castro with us today. She is the founder and head trainer of BeFit, where she helps women to glow from the inside and out. Bela, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeremy. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, and I'm excited to chat with you because I know you just had a little retreat and got to spend some time traveling, and I'm curious for you. Because I know for me, like, it's kind of a big, experience the world thing. Like, I guess, what does travel do for you?
Travel expands your mind, expand your perspectives, help you understand that, the little world that we live in sometimes can become very narrow. Mm-hmm. So when we go outside and see how other people react and live their lives, it just opens possibilities and makes you appreciate what you have a lot of times too.
I know, and being a trainer, you'll appreciate this. The thing I have to be so careful of is I love local food, but you have to be like so careful you don't overindulge in the local food. Yes. Though they don't eat as badly as we do in the U.S., I will say that.
Yes, that's another topic we have to discuss, because you start realizing how, food has an impact in your brain, your health, and everything. But not only that, the convenience that we have in America with fast food and things like that, it can become very easy for you to make the wrong choices.
So let me ask you this. You were a former tennis star. You've come to America from Brazil. You're now helping people to change their lives. So tell me a little bit about your story. Like, how did you, get to the point that you're helping people to transform their own lives?
Yes, I feel like it's such a long journey, but it all comes from the awareness that we have to create in our lives to understand where we came from to begin with, right? So on a standpoint of my family and how I was brought up, a lot of the discipline that I created throughout my life has to come from tennis. But also was my dad always being on top of me and telling me what to do, always saying, oh my gosh, why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? That tough
It was
love.
My mom in my family. My dad was more like passive. My mom was the one, like, you didn't want to upset mom.
Exactly. I feel like we all have one of the family that has to come from that place, So I honestly, I thank my dad today, that even though it was a tough upbringing, it helped me a lot to create the systems that I have in place today, the structure, the organization, the discipline. Because in the end of the day, discipline is when you buy freedom with your time. You do what you need with your time to create the life that you want. And whenever we do that, then we can even be more flexible with the things that we enjoy doing on the side, and become so automatic with the healthy habits that we need to create. So having that tough love from my dad was number one, very important. The tennis mentality, because I don't know, whoever is listening to this and plays tennis knows that is a very mental sport, that you have to quickly recognize your errors and your negativity and change to a positive mindset as fast as you can, so you don't lose 3 points in a row.
Well, I played baseball a lot. Like, I played way too much baseball, spring ball, fall ball, summer ball. Like, I played a lot of baseball, and I could actually see, like, a similar aspect there, right? Because, like, you can't take the same mindset from pitch to pitch or from at bat to at bat. You have to look at each thing as new and not focus on that mistake, right?
Yes, and learn from the mistakes too, So that was another experience that helped me shape the mentality that I have. And then after I graduated, I actually did business management as my first degree. I realized that was not really what I wanted, but at the same time, I learned so much from that business background, learning from a high level corporate job. You start realizing all the stuff that they're not doing so right, that they could make some adjustments, they could adapt, but also the ability to create a culture inside of a company and follow through with what they have to say. So all those little experiences throughout life that shape the structure and the discipline that I had kind of put me in a spot where I was learning and observing and creating the perspective that I have today about that. And then, of course, after that, I also created a different mindset when I went through a divorce. So I don't know if anybody that is listening here that went through a tough breakup, you have your heart broken. It's very difficult to reshape your life from that, especially after a long life living with the
you
same
can
person.
be very like you can really put your identity in that, right? Like, if you've been in a relationship, or even if you've been like, one thing for a long time, like if you've been an athlete for a long time, a lot of them have trouble after they've retired or something, because you identify with that, right? So as part of your identity, you lose too.
100%. And I think what I realized too, not only do we shape our identity based on our environment, but also on the way that people portray you to be, right? So if your partner is putting you on a box of, oh, this person is this way or that way, the manipulation of the person that you are with, sometimes they can shape who you are,
Sure.
and that way sometimes it's hard to deviate from that. So when I got out of that box, and I understood that I was not in the right career path, I was not in the right relationship, and I was not doing the things that was good for me, because after tennis, I kind of let go a little bit of my health. I had to reshape what I was thinking and what I wanted. And that gave space for me to start studying what I was passionate about, which is all to do with health. So I did personal training, certifications, nutrition, psychology. I read plenty of books about metaphysics, neuroscience, things that really interest me, to help me reshape my mentality and recover from that breakup. So instead of dragging myself down and trying to escape from my reality, which most people do, I try to dive deep into more knowledge and wisdom so I could come out stronger from that experience. So
I think there's a lot of different threads we can pull on in this one, Bella. I think I want to kind of sit right here for a second, because I think that's really, really important, and then I'll let you continue. But I think this is an important point. When you're looking at the mindset you have, right? For a lot of people, they have to get up to that point where they can be like, I need to change, or I need to do something different, or I need to make a change. And I guess to somebody listening, let's say they feel like they haven't reached that point yet. What do you think gets somebody to that point that you need to change where you're at and you can't just accept the status quo anymore?
Of course, that's a very good question, actually. Thank you for asking. So for everybody
I hate interrupting,
listening,
but like when you jog something really good, I'm like, we got to go there.
yes, of course, we want to bring the most value to whoever is listening. So I'll say that one of the main things that I say is analyzing what's really bringing you down and what is bringing you up. Because as a human being, if you use your conscious mind, you can dissect what is really guiding you through the path you want to live or not. And if you are mindful of that, right? So you start realizing, what are the habits that you have today? They are improving your life or not improving your life. And it's okay. Sometimes we're doing a lot of things that are not improving our lives, but we're not conscious about it. So we continue to do that.
Do you have a way that people should walk themselves through that? Because I think here's one of the issues I can see, at least I know in my own experience, it took me a long time to get over this, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen this too, is, you can look at those things that are helping you and hurting you, and you can say, well, that one's really kind of not hurting me. Like, that one's fine, and that may actually be the one that's really messing you up. So I guess when you look at it, how do you file those things for yourself? Like, or do you have like some sort of way you work through that?
Yes. So if somebody has a goal, let's say related to health, right? They are wanting to lose weight, or they're trying to tone up their body, but they're doing the same exact thing at the gym, or they're doing exact the same nutrition program, and they don't see any results over and over again, and they don't understand why. Of course, they need to change something. The same way with their careers. Oh, I'm not getting the promotion, or I'm not getting the job I want. Well, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're not going to get anywhere, because in the end of the day, you see the pattern of not changing. The same way with relationships. There's a lot of girls out there and guys, oh, I cannot find the right partner. Well, what are the environments that you're putting yourself in? Are you trying to find the partner at the right spaces, right? Like, what do you want to surround yourself with to get you to the next level? So every single problem that we have going on in our society today related to health, career, financial, relationships have to do with things that need to be changed in order for you to achieve that higher level. So it's just being more mindful of those things that need to be changed, if you know what I mean.
No, I know exactly what you mean, because sometimes it's you look at it and it's this is over repeated, but it's true. It's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect it to change, right? Like, you have to say, okay, so I want to go here. I've been trying to get there for 10 years and I'm not getting there. What's the difference? But I guess my question for you, Bela, and I know you've had some life experiences, as you mentioned. You've had the divorce, you've had these difficulties and things like that. I'm curious, do you think, for most people, that some sort of adversity has to happen to push them to that point? Or how do you think somebody actually reaches that point?
Yes, that point has to be reached when you finally had enough. So not necessarily when you go through a breakup, because a lot of times I reach out to people and I tell them about my program and they say, no, I'm fine where I am. It's because they're comfortable where they are. So they're not willing to push to the next level. And that change comes from leaning over that fear, where you see fear and okay, let me back out. Fear is too much right now. I'm going to go back to where I am. That's when change is not possible. But whenever you are willing to go through that barrier of the fear and face it, that's when you see the change, which a lot of times can be scary, right?
Yeah.
You are living on a regular basis. You go to your job, you come back home, you eat, DoorDash, let's say, and then you go watch TV for a long time and you go to bed again and you do repetitive motions. You're in an autopilot. Then for you to wake up in the morning, work out, and have your nutritious breakfast, it's very difficult in the beginning. But whenever you start doing it over and over again, you see the benefits of the change and you get addicted to it because you feel so much better. It's the same with every single approach. In your career, let's say you're in sales. There's a lot of people in sales, but they say, oh, I don't reach the high level of sales that I could. Well, maybe you should start actually going through the protocol and the process of the sales program that you are in, and you'll see the results. But most people get scared of making those phone calls or reaching out to people and so forth, right? So it's just...
the best thing I ever did, by the way, in my early 20s was sell life insurance. Because, oh my gosh, you got to make 100 phone calls a day and people hate you when you call them. Like, that's a great experience because I have no fear of doing anything related to the phone anymore.
Exactly. And it's crazy because when you put yourself in those positions, then when you see your capacity and your ability, and you actually get more confident, because I bet after the 80 call, even though you're beaten down and then somebody say yes, you get so excited. You're like, oh my gosh, somebody said yes. So that, maybe 100 no's and 1 yes can make up your day. And a lot of times you have to push towards that. And I think society right now, we are getting so used to instant gratification with technology and social media. So we do things for 1 week and we expect everything to change. No, it has to come from a place where we develop a system, a sustainable system of change, so we can then achieve that for the long run, not for the short term.
So let me ask you this then, because I think that this is a perfect place to talk about this, is what is the importance of a good routine? And what is the importance of having things that are routine? And I think here's I think the struggle for a lot of people, and this is from the conversations I've had. Everybody thinks, okay, well, this book says I have to get up at 4:30 and I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this. I think there's these like rote patterns people can get into, but I think routines are valuable. Like, how do you define a routine that works for you without falling into this pattern of something that really is just rote and isn't really helping you?
Yes. So number one, I was going to say that you are your habits. A combination of your choices become your identity. So let's say you have a thought and that thought becomes an action and the action becomes a habit becomes your identity. So what identity do you want to create? What are you trying to shift in your mind so you can become that new version of yourself? And it has to come with a lot of willpower and awareness. So I always say those two things have to be in place whenever you are creating a new routine. Awareness to understand who you are, where you are now, and where you want to go. And the willpower to stick with that ability to create that routine, which most people kind of fall into place because they have the awareness, but they don't have the willpower. So they have to marry those two things. And that's where change really starts happening. But the whole point of the routine is to make them become habits. And when they become habits, they become who you are. So let's say I'm going to give 2 types of people. Number one, somebody that, let's say they have a 8 to 5 job, normal, and they say they don't have time to exercise or eat well or any of that, right? And then I approach them and I'm like, okay, well, you work 8 hours. What are you doing with the other hours of your day? right? You still have 16 hours and you can play with them however you want.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know for me, like I'm a workout fiend. Like I'm usually in the gym an hour to. I'm not in the gym 2 hours anymore a day. I used to be. I'm usually in the gym at least an hour a day. The hardest thing for me was I'm usually best at like between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. Now, if you're building a business and doing other things, you can't do that anymore. So I had to learn how to get good at doing that same thing at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, like so I'm still deadlifting 500, but I'm doing it at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's important to be flexible, like you're talking about.
100%. And not only be flexible, but compassionate towards yourself. So let's say your alarm didn't ring and you couldn't do it, but then you drag yourself down and you completely stop the routine that you created. No,
Yep.
It's okay. There's another day tomorrow. But there's a 3-day rule for me. You never go more than 3 days without following your program, because that is going to deviate you from the routine you have built. So going back to person number A, letter A. So if that person is, 8 to 5 work, doing all the routines and everything, but they say they don't have time to create a workout system or follow a nutrition program. They say, oh, I don't have time to cook. I don't have time. I was like, okay, you have 1 hour on your Sunday to meal prep. I guarantee you do. You have 24 hours of your day. I know you can do it. How many hours are you staying on social media? How many hours are you watching TV? How can we cut that off? Because my workout routine is 32 minutes. Every single person has 30 minutes of their time to go to the living room or a room or the garage. There's no problem. You don't need a gym. You can do the routine. And they see the benefits. So going back to the point is creating the time to do what's meant to be done. Taking care of your health should be the bottom line of your life. Because in the end of the day, if you exercise and you eat well, you're going to feel much better. You're going to work much better. You're going to be more productive. And you're going to accomplish everything that you want. You're going to look better, be more confident, maybe attract a partner that you were looking for. So there's so many benefits, not only on an internal level, but on an external level, for you to create that system in your life. And that comes from, again, talking about the discipline my dad helped me create, talking about the system that I created for my business. And again, going back to the whole point, that's when I saw the difference in myself, that I had the desire to create my own business, because I'm like, I know I can impact people's lives. I know I can change them to be the best.
You know what's really interesting, and you look at a lot of elite athletes, and I feel like athletics has so much application to just the work life and regular life. The biggest thing that makes the good ones is that discipline, right? Like you look at somebody like, I'm a big Tom Brady homer. Everybody will say, okay, you can stop talking about Tom Brady now. But I think he's one of the best athletes of our time. And it's not because, sure, he's big. He's 6'4", but he's slow. He runs like he's got a piano on his back. Doesn't have a big arm. But he has watched more film. He's practiced longer. So he can actually see things before they happen, right? That's discipline. You look at a lot of first-round draft picks, right? A lot of these guys, everybody's told them they're great their entire life, so they've relied on skill and they've relied on ability. But when you get to the top level, it's what's in your head that counts, right? It's what's in your, and without that discipline, that is kind of the missing element for a lot of people.
100%. And then this is the number one person. So 8 to 5 job, no kids, no family, just excuses, no time, no nothing.
Sure.
Then the second person works 12 hours a day, has a kid, has a husband, has a side hustle, and tells me, I wake up every day and do your routine. The difference is the ability to create that willpower and the ability to believe in themselves and create a system that works. Because even though they have a lot of responsibilities, they still make the time for themselves. And that creates even more confidence for their businesses and to run the side hustle and to be a good wife and to be a good husband and to still have to raise a kid on top of everything else, right? So the difference is, are you owning your own life or are you victimizing yourself and finding excuses? So those are the two types of people that I see a lot. And I want to transform the victim into the hero. And you can become the hero of your own life. You can create your own reality, but it's just a matter of desire and willingness to change.
Damn, that's a mic drop moment, Bella. Don't drop the mic, though. I don't want you to break it. But, that's totally a mic drop moment. Because, fitness is important, getting in shape is important, but if everything isn't right in your head, that stuff doesn't matter, right? Because you're not going to continue, you're not going to stick to it, you're not going to make it work. And that's why I love we've really focused on this today, because the mental work is the number one thing you need to be doing.
Yep. Everything starts from the mind, and it kind of reflects through your body, and how much more you respect yourself and your time and your energy. It's how you deliver that, So a lot of the thoughts have to be translated into action. So I have something that I talk to my clients about, is the do and say ratio. Mm-hmm. You have to make sure your do ratio is bigger than your say ratio. A lot of
I know some people that do a lot of saying. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so like, yeah, okay, I hear you say that, but what have you actually done today?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So what we're trying to do is reshape that mentality, and say, okay, great, you're saying all those things. Or sometimes they're not even saying, they're just complaining, right? Like, oh, I never work out, I never do this. So, okay, well, what are you going to do to change it? Because you already told me that 10,000 times. So it's time to change. It's time to do more than what you say. And that's what I want to help people also do. It's very important.
Well, Bela, this has been a great conversation. I'm really, excited for the directions that we went on this. For people listening, if they want to connect with you, if they want to learn more about you, where's going to be the best place for our listeners to go?
Yes, definitely. I have a Linktree profile. It's Linktree /BeFit by Bela, where you can find the wellness retreat that I'm actually getting in November. You can find the link to schedule a call with me. We can talk about what is blocking you from getting to the level that you want, help you make those changes, my health programs, and different things that I have going on. But in the end of the day, I never finished this story about how I started the business.
Sorry, I took you way off course, and we got into some really good stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the whole point after getting all those certifications, and applying those things, because a lot of people have knowledge, but they don't apply, right? Yes. You have to do the more than you say.
1,000%. That's why college really doesn't matter, because people don't apply what they learn.
Yep, exactly. So if you apply probably 80% of what you learn, holy moly, you're going to be in a very good spot, right? Because if everybody knew and applied, they could be millionaires with 6 packs. But it's not always the case, right? So what we're trying to do is incorporate more things and more habits in their life. So that's why I created BeFit. That's why I'm here to help people be guided in that path of enlightenment in their mind, body, and soul level, and create the life that they're proud of.
Very cool. And now that you mentioned your Linktree, but once again, where can listeners find you, since I kind of took you a little off course, but I think the conversation was great. So where can we find you? Yes,
so just type BeFit by Bela, and you'll find me on Instagram, on BeFit by Bela with 1 L, by the way. A lot of people write with 2 L's. So that way you can find a way to chat with me. You can find a way to link with me as far as my health programs. I have events. I'm actually based in Atlanta, so anybody that is listening that is in Atlanta. I also have a retreat happening November here, where we're gonna be taking care of your mind, body, and soul in a deeper level. And then whatever you want, I'm here, all ears.
Well, Bela Castro, thanks so much for hanging out with me today.
Thank you so much.